And we're back. When we last left off, we were deep into a mystery. Mom was mysteriously ill, and Dad was suspiciously happy and letting Dennis get away with terrorizing the town. Then, after decorating the spare room, Dennis looked out the window and saw that Big Guns Walter was making his way over. Was this the big secret they had been teasing? Was Walter moving into the Menace household? Only one way to find out, but... No, it's not that, so don't worry. Issue number 2928, released August 29th. Pretty close to my birthday, yeah, just saying. It has a panel from last week of when Dennis spotted Walter. There's a caption that says, soft as melted ice cream, which makes no sense to me. Ice cream, unless frozen hard, is generally soft, and melted ice cream is liquid. It's just a puddle. Big Gun Walter bursts excitedly through the door, complimenting the room and revealing he has Brody's stuff as Dennis faints. Seriously, who's the softie now, Dennis? Got to say though, not a big fan of Walter's colour scheme. The yellow socks matching the yellow dots on his dicky bow is nice, but the blue jumper clashes with the pink shoes. They should have fully pinked him up. Big Guns Walter can rock the pink. We quickly learn though that Walter is here for interior design, and not to stay. He's in fact repelled by the very notion he would be moving in. As if. Being a very gifted boy, Big Gun Walter is here to paint some lovely stencils on the wall, and crack some banger jokes might I add. Dennis, the hooligan he is, has Gnasher amazingly bite a spider stencil into Mom's poshest plate mats, which scares Big Guns away. Poor Walter. Arachnophobia is a very real condition and doesn't make me think any less of him. Dennis then tries to have a bit of a think to figure out just what is going on around here. Maybe they are getting rid of Gnasher. No, it can't be that, because Dad just bought 2 months of dog food. He then rules out them moving away because no other neighbourhood would ever let them move in. He then thinks of some mad scenarios, like Mom and Dad running away from home with the classic bindle sticks, but honestly, none of these ideas relate to anything that has been going on. Come on Dennis, think harder. Especially the alien war, you idiot. He then suddenly panics and runs downstairs to check if everything is okay with the telly. He turns it on to his relief, and look what's on, the Dennis and Gnasher show. Na 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 na. Okay, I'll stop. Finally fed up, Dennis demands to know the big secret. But his parents refuse to tell him, so in a classic throwing your rattle out of the crib moment, Dennis refuses to appear in next week's Beano. We get a cool final panel of him ripping his section off the cover. Will Dennis's temper tantrum pay off and reveal the big secret that should be pretty obvious by now for anyone older than 12? Let's find out. Issue number 2929 sees Dennis still being a massive baby. He has his bony back to the reader and is throwing away his jumper as Gnasher advertises situation vacant. And a big bold "not" covers the Dennis the Menace title. Inside we cut to Les Pretend, one of the worst Beano characters who I usually skipped every week, donning the jumper. Next he puts a hedgehog on his head for spiky hair and attempts to fire a catapult. The hedgehog is having none of it though and bites the elastic, causing them both to be pelted in the face with a tomato. Les then walks away defeated like the quitter he is. Yeah, get out of here, nerd. Next up is Fatty from the Bastard Kids. He squeezes into a jumper and like you would, he decides he can now eat Rasher's pig swill of garbage. Rasher, not having any of this either, kicks Fatty away. That's not me being mean by the way, his name is actually Fatty. It's a British thing. Then, after Ivy the Terrible is too small, it's Walter's time to shine as he knits a fetching star into the jumper and puts a lovely window box and curtain on every comic frame. Such a sweet boy Walter, but unfortunately this positive change doesn't last very long as Dennis assaults dear Walter and takes his jumper back. What could have been? The big tough Dennis then begs his parents to know the secret. But before the reader can hear it, the Colonel barges in with a tank wearing Dennis's jumper. Damn it, Colonel, we were this close to finding out the secret. But luckily Dennis has heard it, but what do you know? The softie fainted. Gnasher the rat dog then, instead of just telling the secret, lets us know we will find out next week. Geez, thanks for nothing, Gnasher. Cut to issue number 2930, we are reminded of what a softie Dennis is, as his parents spray him with the garden hose water. Dennis then when he wakes up asks Gnasher to bite him on the ass, and after that little moment he realizes it is not a dream. He then thinks back on all the strange events happening over this Agatha Christie style mystery. His dad's happiness, his mom's illness, and Dad and Walter decorating the spare room. Then there were other things we didn't see, like Dad practicing putting a nappy on Gnasher, and Mom knitting little clothing items to try on Nipper. Seriously Dennis, even 7-year-old Ashley would have guessed there was a baby from those clues, and he's an idiot. Well, Dennis finally lets us in on the big secret, which should be obvious by now. Mom is having another baby. The comic then ends with a great panel of mom and dad rushing to the hospital with Gnasher on the roof, as Dennis and Granny look on. This had me hyped. It was a big deal over here. Like in America when Superman died, this story was in the papers, and not just the UK ones. It was big news over here in Ireland. Things were about to change for old young Ashley. Next week I would be 8 and the Beano would change forever. Not even joking, they had next week hyped. It would be a bigger and better Beano, 32 pages and a new cover design format, which was a real shame. I was still new to the comic, but I loved its uniform look. It was really appealing, but this is the last time they would have this layout. They even teased a new character, Even Stevens. He would not last that long, but I really enjoyed the strip while he was there, and have his entire collection up in the attic somewhere. Well, cut to next week's issue, number 2931. We have the new look Beano as Dad runs out happily to declare it's a girl! The issue came with a free banger, which was a thing you used to slap a table to make a loud noise. Now you know. The first page isn't the usual Dennis story, it's an advertisement for the new Beano Club, of which I am a lifetime platinum member. They promised me no one else would get my number once I reach lifetime membership, so that better still be the case. We also see an advertisement for next week's Beano, as well as competitions and stuff. Not gonna lie, I expected a much bigger Dennis story with 8 extra pages, but nope, it's shorter. Dennis worries what it'll be like to have a new baby sister. Oh, the crying and baby stuff, as well as girls hogging the toilet. They take forever in there. Gnasher laughs until Dennis reminds him girls like dress-up games, and he is the perfect size. We see Walter stride in, looking amazing. He's wearing some fabulous trousers and has a sick ponytail for no other reason other than he can. Then, we learn another skill he has is being a dope photographer. He is called Big Guns for a reason. They all line up to take a photo, the new baby looking like a little Palpatine. Walter says get in close and flash! That advertisement on the first page makes sense now. We have to turn the page for the big reveal. I don't know about you audience, but even though I know what the baby looks like, I am very excited to turn over. And here we get this great full page of Dennis holding the photo and pointing to his new sister. We see Dennis and Gnasher laugh as the new Menace gets right to work. We aren't finished yet though, we still need to learn her name, and luckily I have issue number 2933 to tell us. Not so lucky however, in a cute design choice, it appears that Dennis' sister has torn the cover before we learn her name. Oh god, I hope they don't go old British humour and just name her sister, like the rest of the family's stupid names. Inside, we see Dennis introduce her to Curly and Pieface as she eats the rest of the cover. They play a guessing game and Dennis points at Walter sniffing a flower as a clue. Pieface, the forever simple, guesses Walter. Walter is a name worthy of a prince, not a menace. Walter guesses Daisy, I think, but it's a bit weird. He could just be talking to the flower. He is immediately then run over by a cow because Daisy is a cow's name, and when you say it, you get run over by a cow, I guess. Dennis then says Walter is about to get another clue, as he was sniffing the wrong flower and gets stung on the nose. Curly, normally the smarter friend, guesses her name is Sting, after the pop idol. Ah, Curly, what a disappointment you are. Dennis finally reveals her name is Bee. Apparently it was from fan suggestions, but I don't believe that for a second. Well, it's now back to business as usual, as Dennis ties Bee to a kite, an old battered kite, and flies her in the air. What were mom and dad thinking, trusting this idiot with a baby? They use this newborn baby tied to a kite to try and steal honey from the colonel because her name is Bee. Get it? Anyways, she drops the honey all over them because she's an infant holding a giant honey jar from a kite. What did you think was gonna happen? Dennis starts to think that maybe Bee wasn't such a good name after all. Shut up, Dennis. The storyline finally comes to an end with top banter from Big Guns Walter, who lets him know it's too late to change now. And there we are, the biggest story the Beano ever did. They did do other longer stories in fun-sized Beanos and Beano Superstar comics, and even full Beano stories in the regular comics, like that time they faced the Backstreet Kids in a football match, but nothing got attention like this story. They would do cool dandy crossovers from time to time, but the mystery around Bee was the best. She would go on to get her own strip, Beginnings, and in issue number 2942, she would star in every comic. We even see what kind of gigantic Hulk monster she becomes when she turns 10 in a Tim Traveler comic. Well, if you'd like to look back at the Beano and would like to see more, please consider liking and subscribing. Don't be a menace, be a big gun, like Walter. Boy, I sure did say a thing or two about a thing or two. Who knows what I might say next? Could be something good. Only one way to find out, and that's by liking and subscribing. Go on, you know you want to.